Hey there Stampers, Susan here with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. I have our Monday project for our mystery case this week. It is September 28th. We're on mystery case 21, if you can believe it. This week we're going to focus on framelits. Okay, we're going to use our framelits in some unique ways this week. So I'm going to go ahead and get started for you. So I've actually decided, we're focusing on framelits, but I've actually decided today I'm actually going to be playing in the Case This Sketch Challenge, and this was their sketch. Okay, so the card we end up with is going to fit this sketch, just so you have an idea of where I'm going with my project. Okay, so we're going to start with the Bumblebee cardstock. Okay, I'm using a Bumblebee card base with a Whisper White center. I have another piece of Bumblebee I'm going to use on the top. I have Cajun Craze, Whisper White, and the Bumblebee ribbon. Okay, so the first step, and I don't show my big shot on camera anymore because the whole table shakes and that's just chaos. But what I did first was I took this panel and I used this large die. Okay, this is from the, I have to go look. It's from the Ornate Layers die set. Okay, so this die set comes with all these really fun ornate framing and layers. So there's the ones that I have out for another project. But so we're going to use this one here to start. And what I did is I ran that through my cut and emboss, and I just created the frame. Okay, so all it does is it cuts out the edge but leaves the center hole. Okay, so you don't end up with a hole in the center, you end up with the center hole. Then from there, I went back to my die cutting machine, okay, and I used this fun die. Now this one doesn't cut the edge, it only creates the perforations. So I'm going to run this through twice. So when I put it on my plate, I just kind of centered it at the top and the sides, and I ran it once, and then I moved it down and I ran it a second time. So here's that finished panel. See, once and then a second time. And so what I did was I just made sure that those center dots on that die were lined up when I cut it the second time. Okay? So there's our die cutting for this card. Now, what am I going to do with those two panels now, right? Okay, so I have my card base and I have my die cut panel, right? And I'm going to tell you, I cut my base card down to 4 inches wide because when this cuts from a quarter sheet of cardstock, it's long and narrow, and I didn't want a lot of extra space on two sides and not on the top and bottom. So I've cut my base down to 4 inches instead of 4 1/4. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to add some color behind that die cut. So I'm going to use Cajun Craze because I'm just kind of in the fall mood. So I'm going to use the Cajun Craze panel back there. I also want to wrap some of this fun gingham ribbon. So I'm going to do that first. So first I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of my panel. And you've seen me do this hundreds of times, but I just wrap my edge around and tack it to the back. Okay, so it's just tacked into that adhesive there. Now I'm going to use mini dimensionals. So I am going to line the back of this with that Cajun Craze, but I'm also going to lift it from the Cajun Craze. I want there to be a little bit of shadowing between the die cut and the color behind it. So I'm just going to put these dimensionals around like that. Move that one a little bit. I don't want to see them. Okay, I'm going to pull all those backers off. Okay, so now I'm just going to put this right over the top of that Cajun Craze. So that's all filled in. See? So I've got two-tone colors there. I've got the Cajun Craze in the back with a shadowing effect, and I've got my Bumblebee. Now I'm going to go ahead and add dimensionals to the rest of the card here. And we're going to lift the whole thing up off of the card base. Okay, and on my edge here, where that ribbon is tucked, I'm going to add a little extra reinforcement. Just want to really make sure those are going to stay put. So I just use an edge. Okay, so let's peel all these off. Now remember, I didn't add any to here because they're already underneath that Cajun Craze layer, so I don't want it too thick there, but I want it all the same thickness. Okay, so there's that. So now I'm going to come back to my front, and I'm just going to position this nice and snug on my card. Okay, so there's that. Then I decided I needed to add some stamping, right? So I'm going to use the Free as a Bird set. What I am going to do is I'm going to stamp in Mossy Meadow 2 of these leaves. Okay. And then in Cajun Craze, because that's the color I used in the background, I'm going to stamp these flowers. So I want one big one and 2 small ones, but we'll just stamp it all the same. Okay, so these did not come with dies, so I have to fussy cut those out with my snips, my paper snips. Okay, now I will not make you watch me do that. I've done that ahead of time. So here they are, my 2 large flowers and my 2 green leaves. Okay, now before I put those on my card, I'm going to paint them with my Wink of Stella. And if your ink is still a little bit active, it'll almost watercolor or blend that ink where you apply your Wink of Stella. So that's kind of a fun added bonus to the Wink of Stella, is you can kind of color in your image as well. So it just gets like a shadowing of the color you stamped it in. So now I'm going to do the flower. So now instead of a white flower with bold edges, I have more of a muted flower that's all the Cajun Craze. Okay, one more. Okay, so there's our little bit of shimmer, right, for our card. Okay, oh, I forgot to add my sentiment. Okay, cross our fingers, let's hope we can stamp this and it comes out nice. So I want to add my sentiment right here. So I'm going to use the Your Friendship Means the World to Me. And I'm just going to hold my breath. It worked. Okay, you should have stamped that first. I didn't. Sometimes you can get away with making mistakes. I made a mistake, I got away with it. Okay, so now we're going to add our stamped and die cut images here. So I'm just adding glue dots to the back of my stamped, cut out, and glitzed up with my Wink of Stella flowers and leaves. Okay, and then I just want to build a little embellishment over here. So I'm going to put a little leaf this way, and I'm going to make one go down, kind of overlapping a little bit there. Then I'm going to add, let's see, I'm going to add the big flower first, and then I'm going to tuck these little guys kind of behind, just like that. Okay, so let's see, how did I do with my additional case challenge here? So I've got my 2 pieces, right? I die cut those. I've got an edge, I've got a sentiment, and I've got some fun embellishment right there. I think that wins. Okay, so there's that. Let's do the inside panel. So I have Whisper White for the inside. I'm going to stamp The World Means More of You for the inside. I think I'm going to stamp it. I think I'm going to stamp it right here. And I'm going to show you why, because I'm going to add some more stamping to the inside. I'm going to add a leaf Alright, it can be active edge. And then I'm going to add a couple of flowers, but I want to do them one at a time. So, put this one on this side. Okay, so just a few flowers, a couple of leaves, and now let's put that on the inside. Okay, so there's that, and then we can repeat that same stamping if we want to on our envelope. Right, if we're going to stamp a card, why have a naked envelope? So let's see, I'll start with my leaf again. Add a little leaf like this, and then I'm going to add a flower. I'll add 2 flowers. There we go. Alright, so there's our project. So I hope you guys are excited to use your framelits this week. We'll be doing framelits all week long. Remember, you can snap photos and send them along to me for the mystery case. I will share them on the blog and put your name on them to give you credit for your creation. And don't forget to hop over to my Facebook page as well. I'm sharing all kinds of fun tips and other videos over there for you, so you can find me at Pumpkin Hill Stampers on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And if you need any help placing orders, it's the end of September, you're probably getting ready to do your Christmas orders, you just let me know and I'll help you do that as well. Or if you have any other technique questions, just shoot me an email and I'll be sure to try to help you out with those. Alright everybody, I hope you have a great week, and it's Monday, so it's the beginning, so we're off and running. Here we go. Alright, I'll see you at the end of the week for our Follow Along Friday project on Facebook. Bye everybody.